right, friends, family, audience of Patriot Nightcap, thank you so much for joining us. We premiere every Wednesday, Sunday night, 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. I am so excited right now because we have a couple of truth seekers, patriots who met through our Patriot movement, where we're all toxin free. We have a little sanctuary over on 1776 Street Fighters on Telegram. This is Katelyn Acosta and Gus Campos. Welcome to the show, you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on. Listen, I just want to kick this off because, as you can tell, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump over you, Katelyn, but I'm really excited because I was telling Nino, I'm like, I don't think you understand. This is like the biggest red pill that I've had to swallow and actually dissect and look at. And that's all I'm going to ask my audience tonight to do, is to have an open mind and to take a look at this, because Katelyn, you warned me. You were like, look, this is kind of a big deal. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. Little did I know, and folks, I don't know if you know this, but your social security number, your birth certificate, like at birth, is bought and sold. So it's not only, the children who are being trafficked, but we are being trafficked. There are companies who buy and sell your social security number, your birth certificate. And on a previous conversation that I had with Katelyn and Gus, one thing that jumped out to me and that freaked me out is the fact that Child Protective Services can just, take your child. And I said, you know what? Why is that? Why do they have the power to do that to parents? So this is going to be a big red pill for a lot of you to swallow. Katelyn, I want to just kind of jump in. If you could kind of dissect the process here, she's going to tell you how to go from US citizen to state national. But tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then what inspired you to look into this. I know you were in the military in 2014. You're in Germany, you're coming back. Gus, you're in the States. You guys met in the Patriot movement. Katelyn, I'll let you take it away. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Sure. Thanks. So yeah, I joined the military right out of high school, and I did a tour overseas in Iraq for a year, and basically had my first red pill there. There was some really weird things going on with the Freemasons happening in the headquarters building, and that just kind of got me going down the rabbit hole, if you will.
Can you tell us, can you just give me a little example of that? What do you mean there was some stuff going on with the Freemasons?
Sure. So I was doing staff duty, which is like a 24-hour shift. When you let people in and out of the headquarters building, you have to check their bags, etc. It's a security detail. And some colleagues that worked in the next section from me had these big tough boxes, and they were bringing them into the headquarters building, and I had to look inside because that was my job. And I saw robes, Freemason robes and paraphernalia, candles, all of these ceremonial things that you would have to hold a ceremony in those tough boxes. And I knew that a lot of military are in the Freemasons, but I didn't know
to what extent.
Okay. And so that really got my wheels turning, and I started looking into it. And that's really when the veil was lifted over my eyes, and I really started asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my first red pill moment. And ever since then, I've been
digging and going down, being a truth seeker and digging further and further into the rabbit hole, I guess. Okay. So you had mentioned to me prior to this conversation that your family sort of said, listen, Katelyn, take a look at this. You can actually go from, so tell us what does it mean to go from US citizen to state national? Why would somebody want to do that? What does this mean?
Right.
And
Great
folks, we're going to leave
question.
all kinds of links to like David Straight and
Yeah.
other informational links here, but go ahead.
Right. So I think it's important to first understand what a U.S. citizen is in the way that we talk about it. Okay. Um, so when the 14th Amendment was passed, it had to do with freeing the slaves. But if you read the actual 14th Amendment, it talks about the U.S. citizen being subject to the authority that is. And what that authority is Washington, D.C. It's not the United States of America, but it's in fact a de facto government that was set up, and I can go over the history of it, but it was set up to basically pay off our debts. And so we, as US citizens, became fictional beings. Okay, so when we are born, we are registered with a birth certificate. And that creates what's called a straw man or a vessel. Okay, and this all has to do with maritime law, which is the lowest form of law. And basically, this contract was entered into by our parents unknowingly, and they gave the rights to their children over to the state. And we have been through that vessel being bought and sold on the stock exchange. And we, as our vessels, are currently funding government. And so you ask yourself, how can the government be spending trillions and trillions of dollars on this and that just willy-nilly? Well, this is how they do it. It's not because we're paying our taxes every year. That's a very small portion of what funds government.
Okay, so what are some of the steps that you've taken in this process from converting, if you will, from US citizen to state
Sure.
national? And what are the benefits of that? Now, you sent me some information on David Straight. I thought that he was a pretty fascinating guy, which, by the way, if you don't know who that is, he actually worked for Donald Trump, right? And he was a part of his trafficking
pedophile task
force. Okay. And he's had tremendous success saving children. You can Google him on YouTube, but so let's go back to what are some of the steps that, because I know you said that if you don't take the right steps, you can get into a lot of trouble. So to go from US citizen to state national. Now, why would you want to do that? So let's just break it down. Why would we want to do that? Go ahead, Katelyn.
Right. So the US citizen is subject to Congress. Okay. We, the people, when our founding fathers founded this nation, were what we call sui juris, or of one's own right. And they created government. And there's a maxim of law which states what one creates, one controls. And so we, the people, controlled the government. Okay, that's how it was set up. But since then, the roles have switched, and the government, Congress, is now controlling we, the people. Well, how did that happen? That happened through a lot of events that I can't really go into detail about right now. But basically, the reason why you don't want to be a citizen is because all of you are not a party to the original Constitution. You are now a party to and subject to all of the statutes and codes that Congress has created without our authority. Okay, so that means you have to have a permit if you want to carry a weapon. That means you have to license and register your vehicle. That means you have to get a marriage license when you get married. And it means that you are a taxpayer. And basically, we are not all of those things. We're free people, but they have subjected us to all of these things. You can see in every facet of your life, there's the government, there's the state, a state license for everything. So what you're doing when you transfer from being a US citizen, you're not really relinquishing your citizenship, but you're saying, I'm not my vessel anymore. I am a sui juris person. I am a state national.
Mhm.
And the what happens is you go from being subject to Congress
Mhm.
back up to being ruling over the government, which is where we are supposed to be.
So you would say we are living under this facade of we the people. Because we're not really,
Yes.
and you're saying
Yes.
take your sovereignty back. Now, as the
Yes.
average citizen, I guess my next question would be, okay, let's say you go from being US citizen to state national. What rights are you relinquishing? What are you losing? Because if I'm not a taxpayer, then how does my vote count? And then how am I contributing to society? I mean, this is a big pill to swallow, right?
Right. Yes.
And in
Yes.
fact, when I first heard about this, I was like, well, that's just straight up crazy. You know what I mean?
I
Then I
know.
started looking at David Straight and I started listening and I'm like, wow, okay, yes, we all understand what's happening with kids, but I didn't realize to the extent by which our social security's numbers are being bought and sold and we're basically just trafficked,
Chattel. They call us chattel.
chattel. Okay. So,
Yeah.
okay. So go on with your process.
So,
Okay, so
right.
what rights would we
So,
enjoy as a state national? Let me ask you that.
right. So we would enjoy all of the rights that the Constitution has granted us. Well, really, the Constitution didn't grant us anything. God granted us our rights, but the Constitution is what protects those rights. And so in my mind, you don't relinquish anything. In fact, you shed your vessel and all of those statutes and rules that you've been living under your whole life, and you become a free person, a free living soul. Okay, because a person is a legal term, and it can mean a corporation as well. So I'm telling you, they are so sly and so cunning in the way that they have changed the language. If you read the definitions in the Black Laws Dictionary, which is what they go by, that's the commercial code, you will see a very different picture of how they view us and what a person means. And all of this normal language that you and I think means one thing actually means another thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're doing is you are reclaiming your sovereignty.
But I'm sorry, when you say they, who are you referring to? Are you referring to Freemasons?
So I'm referring to the de facto government, which is the United States. It's not the United States of America. It's the United States. And I want to add that all of the private entities that the government has set up since Congress has passed all of these bills, I'm talking about the FBI, I'm talking about the United States, you name it, all the ABC corporations, they have tax identity numbers, which means that they are private corporations. They are not the government. So they are for-profit entities who Congress has put in place to make money and control us. And what we are doing is we're saying, no, we are not subject to you anymore. You are subject to us, and we are not in your jurisdiction, and you cannot touch us anymore because we are sovereign.
Okay, so you take back your sovereignty.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. How do you, is there a large population of people who have done this that I'm just unaware of?
Yeah,
And are
so
they walking
it's
around with passports that say state national,
do not stop, do not detain,
do not stop,
concealed
do not.
carry in all 50 states. Yes.
Okay. And
Yeah, so the
what rights
last
are
time,
you enjoying as a state national? Like what,
right.
tell me what rights you're enjoying. Are you
So you
officially a state
have,
national now, Caitlin, or you're in the
so
process?
I'm going to be filing my freedom bundle on Friday, which when that gets recorded in
Wow.
the states in Pima County, I will be an official American state national.
Pima County. So you're coming to
Mhm.
Arizona to do this.
I'm sending them through the mail.
Right.
To,
Okay.
right.
And by the way, folks, Caitlin is right now in Germany, right? And
Yes.
is it, I mean, is it truly Nazi Germany? Are you able to get around? Like what's happening out
It's
there?
it ebbs and flows. But it really seems like there's no end in sight.
Mhm.
Which is really scary, and which is one of the reasons we want to get out of here so badly.
Okay. And you get fined a lot if you're not wearing your face diaper.
Yeah, oh yes, that's their favorite thing to do is fine you.
Will they go so far as throw you in, and
Oh
take you?
yes, they will. If
know?
you are insubordinate and you keep offending, they will. Yes,
Okay. So
absolutely.
see, this is the thing that terrifies me, and why we all have to, wouldn't you agree, Gus? We need to speak out and fight for our rights because, they're getting fined in Germany. You might get taken to jail if you don't have your face diaper on. I mean, think about that. That's true.
Yeah.
That's the Third Reich,
And,
that's it's
Yeah.
here or it's trying to come here.
and it's already
Yeah.
happening
And
on states, the blue states, New York,
Yeah, well, I know.
mhm.
I know.
Chicago.
I
And
left
I
blue
really
state.
see America being, this is really the last chance that we have. I mean,
Well,
I'm looking at other countries, and I don't see the kind of gall or understanding of what's really going on in any. There are people who are waking up to all of this stuff all over the world, but America is really
The
like,
last bastion of hope.
yeah. And if we don't take our control back, um,
it might be gone forever.
Right.
yeah. But the thing is that it's easy to do, and I kind of want to go through the process of how you do it. You're basically showing intent through affidavits. So you do your affidavit of repudiation, and then you serve that to the Secretary of State, and you send it registered mail.
Okay.
You get your return receipt back. And then after a period of 21 days, you can record with any county in America, and that becomes a court of record. And if you go into court for any reason, your status is a done deal. That there's nothing left for the judge to adjudicate. Okay, because you've stated I am not under your jurisdiction. And so there's nothing the judge
What
can do.
jurisdiction are you now under as a state national? Your own jurisdiction? What jurisdiction are you under?
So you go from being in the water, lost at sea, okay, Admiralty law, I didn't touch on this, but going from the sea onto the land. And that's where the founding fathers intended us to be. That is where that's what common law is. It's the law of the land. But the de
That's what
facto
David
government
Strait
has
talks about, right? Okay, because
exactly. And I want to encourage people, please look into this. I'm going to post links about how you can understand more of this, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just kind of to tickle your ears and really kind of shake
right.
you up so that you can understand really what's happened and how you can change it. And so please, it's a simple process, but it can take time to undo everything that you've done for your whole life. You know, we've been under this
Umbrella.
indoctrination
Right.
umbrella for our whole life, and their tentacles are everywhere. So undoing all of those things takes a little bit of time. But I wanted to answer your question. Per the last FOIA request from the Secretary of State, there's over 1.4 million state nationals that have changed their status.
1.4 million worldwide.
Million.
Worldwide.
In America.
In America.
In America.
Okay.
And so this is taking, I mean, it is exploding.
I'm just amazed that you could do this from Germany. Like you're just sending your information in. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. From start to finish, how long was the process for you?
So I still have, before I become a state national, well, you have to wait a period of 21 days in between the Secretary of State receiving your affidavit of repudiation and then to filing it with the county. And that can take, I would say like a month. Let's just say a month. And
Not
then
that
once
long.
you're, no, it's not that long, but it's really important that you know what you're doing and why you're doing it before you embark on this journey, because we're up against a very large evil, and they're not going to give us our freedom back just willy-nilly. Okay. So they are experts at setting traps and getting you to come back into their jurisdiction. And so I would encourage you to please dive into this head first and learn everything that you can before you pull the trigger, because while there are a lot, I mean, there's thousands and thousands of people who have done this, it's really up to you to understand what you're doing and
research it, right? Like I did look into it a little bit and my eyes did sort of pop out of my head, but some informative links, 1776 Reignited, right?
Yes, so that's
find that?
That's Bobby Lawrence. So it's Bobby Lawrence,
okay.
1776 Reunited, and that's the Telegram chat. And there you can follow Bobby Lawrence's journey to freedom and everything that he learned along the way, ask questions, read all of the conversations. So that's a really great resource. I would encourage you to watch the David Straight seminars, which I sent you the links to. It's a weekend seminar, and it is a lot. It is long, but I mean,
that's and I only got
that is a really great foundation.
That. Yeah, and that will blow your mind. David Straight on you can just find him on YouTube, but
and if you want to see how much you are worth to the de facto government, I want you to go to www.gmeiutility.org.
Okay, and that's the Social Security link, right?
That's so you type in the magnifying glass on the right upper hand side, you type your Social Security in with the dashes, and it will come up with a list of companies who are buying and selling your Social Security number. Wow. I had about, I looked at my husband's, it was over 100,000 companies that were buying and selling his. And the interesting thing is that your worth is determined by how much education you have, if you've joined the military, all of these things. So and
who are these companies buying? Okay, so guys, if you didn't get that, gmeiutility.org. Okay, who are these companies who are buying and selling our Social Security numbers?
The average company who's buying and trading on the stock market.
Wow. Big red pill, guys, big red pill. Take your
Yeah.
sovereignty back. I'm gonna have to dig, deeper into this. My brother will be fascinated by this for sure. What else would you like to add? So you started the process. You're about to conclude the process. And what would you say are the top 4 or 5 benefits that you're going to have as a state national, going from US citizen to state national? And so are you telling me when you fly into the United States, they'll look at your passport and just be like, oh, we got to leave her alone, basically. If a state trooper
Yeah,
pulls you over, anybody.
you're out of their jurisdiction. They cannot touch you. So the right to bear arms. The Second Amendment protected our right to bear arms. Okay. And we don't need a permit. We don't need permission. That is for chattel. Permission is for the US citizen, but you are sovereign and you don't need permission from anybody. You are sui juris. The next one is the right to travel. You don't have to have a driver's license. You don't have to have insurance. You don't have to register your vehicle. You don't have to have a license plate. And all of these codes and policies, police, they're policy enforcers, are not, they don't apply to the sovereign.
This is
Okay.
fascinating. Especially with the whole this whole COVID thing, right? So lockdowns, all of this, the impending doom, right? So if you're a state national, you just say,
sorry, you don't,
too bad.
I'm not,
I'm a
those
state
rules
national.
don't apply to me.
But okay, but as a taxpayer, right? And then, you show your license or, oh, I'm sorry, wait, we don't show our license to vote here. Do we?
No, okay, that's another
May as well
thing.
be a state national. You may as well be a state national.
Might as well be.
Think about it,
when
guys.
when you go from being a citizen to a national, nationals don't pay taxes. If you really dive into the tax code and the Constitution, it is taxes. Taxing your income is not, it's nowhere to be found. It's nowhere to be found. And so that goes for taxes, that goes for marriage license. The state has no jurisdiction over marriages. And for that fact, I want to bring up a very important part is that they don't have any business being in your family at all. So you hear about these horror stories about people having their kids taken away for no reason at all, or some made up reason. It's because the state owns them, because you signed them away when you gave them a birth certificate and you registered them.
Right. Now, I have heard this. So once they're registered with a birth certificate, the state has the right to do whatever.
Yes.
Right. And by the way, David Strait threw out some alarming statistics with, children being trafficked by by Child Protective Services. I think it was like 80 something %. It was
and that really is his. That is his bread and butter.
Forget the word alarming. It was terrifying.
Yes. So he is a huge advocate. He's been working for decades, getting children out of that system and back into their rightful families. And that's what I really love about
Department of Justice and other. What you think is well-meaning is not so well-meaning after all, right? So big red pill to swallow. And, thank you, Katelyn and Gus.
I hope I've done a good enough job
anything else
explaining it.
You gave us terrific information. And Gus, thank you for bringing Katelyn to me. Again, we met through our Patriot community. Is there anything that you would like to add that maybe we're not touching on? Gus, anything?
I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad I made the switch. I wanted to buy American because I'm sick and tired of seeing things they made in China. And
Yeah.
I want to buy healthy products because I care about my body, my mind, my soul. I started taking Peak Performance. I'm meeting Patriots, connecting with you, your brother.
Oh, that's so great.
It's awesome. It's what I wanted and I need it, and we all need. You know,
Yeah.
it's about covering every sector. You know, products, becoming a state national, eating healthy, living healthy, protecting our family, our home. It's like Katelyn said, it's now or never. This is our only chance, and I'm
All
glad
very legitimate and real concerns for all of us. And, you know, from my heart to yours, I thank you. And the Patriot community means so much to us. And we are definitely, you know, building relationships, keeping people safe. And that's really our well-meaning mission over here, you know, is freedom of choice, freedom of speech, and taking back your sovereignty is one of the biggest red pills I've had to swallow, Gus and Katelyn. I think I just sat here with my jaw dropped when I was talking to you about this whole concept of going from US citizens to state national. I'm like, why on earth would you want to do that?
Right.
And now that I've dug into it a little more, I'm like, oh my God, holy smokes. Yeah, so especially the GMI utility.org, I think will blow a lot of people's minds. Speaking of China, you definitely want to check out my brother's Nino's latest interview with Jim Nilly, US Gold, China. That looks like a terrific interview. I'm going to go watch it right now, actually. But I want to thank you guys so much for coming on here, and you've provided fantastic information, Katelyn, and good luck, you know, getting back from Germany to the United States.
Thank you.
And I hope to meet you, you know, at some point.
Yes.
It's great to meet you. And Gus,
yes.
thank you so much. And good night to my Patriot Nightcap audience. Thank you.
Thank you for having
Talk
us.
soon.
Thank you.
Stormy weather is coming to your city. Stormy weather is coming to your city. Run to the hills, run to the hills, run to the hills, come to the hills. Stormy weather is coming to your city. Stormy weather is coming to your city. Run to the hills, run to the hills, run to the hills. You got to come to the hills.
Run if you're scared, there stand if you're prepared. Stare in the mind when the spirit rise. No time like the present. Learn your lesson. Left leg, baby stepping far from the end. The beginning, there's no exit. Only then, mother gate swing 'em open, no mistake. Your body, these bones.